Hey guys, my name is Marco Nicoli. I'm an executive chef, and I'm thrilled to have you guys in my kitchen today, in my Edge home. We're gonna cover a few recipes, but we're gonna start with one of my favorite. We're gonna do sous vide filet mignon. It's a super easy recipe, and my favorite part about it is the ability I have to utilize my counter that we built with Edge Homes. So we're gonna go ahead and get going in it. So it's just a few of ingredients, which makes it really easy. We're gonna start with fresh thyme, a little bit of minced garlic, and butter. So the first step is to peel the leaves off the thyme. So we just want the thyme. If you keep the sprig, it's a little bit chewy and kind of like a branch. So you wanna get rid of that and just get the leaves. Thyme's one of my favorite herbs for a lot of reasons, but mostly because it's so mild. It doesn't overpower the dish that you use it with, and it kind of has a mustard tone to it. So I really like it with red meat, any beef product. It just does really, really well. So at the bottom of the sprig, you'll see that it's a little bit firmer. At the top, it's softer, so you can leave that part on if you'd like. As a young chef, I used to do this in major kitchens, and the chef would make us pick every little piece off. I'm not that tedious about it, because we're gonna go back here in a second and just put a rough chop on this. So just take a really good sharp knife and just run it kind of back and forth one way, and then back and forth the other way. Perfect. So we're gonna do that, and then, like I said, I have about a tablespoon, maybe half a tablespoon of minced garlic. So we're gonna take this, and we're gonna go over to the stove. So we're gonna go ahead and turn on this stove to high heat. I love this stove because Edge Homes allows us to customize the fact that we wanted commercial appliances in our kitchen, and it allows me to do my job much better. So we're gonna put about 2 tablespoons of butter, salted butter, in this pan, and just let it reduce. What we're looking for is a browning. We don't want to burn it, but we want to brown it. It develops like a rich caramely flavor for when we cook the steaks. So we're gonna let that go, like I said, on high heat. As soon as the butter is completely melted, we'll add the garlic and the herbs that we just cut up. So we're gonna go ahead and add that minced garlic. And when I do this, I do turn down the heat just a tad bit. And then those fresh herbs. Let the garlic go just a little bit longer than the herbs, because you don't want to scorch the herbs. And really what we're doing is just brightening the flavors, so that they're really developed when we put them in the bag to sous vide them with the steak. And that's really it. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that butter off and let it rest and kind of cool down. While that's cooling, we're gonna take these fillets. So this is a product that I got from a local grocer. You can have them pre-cut and cleaned. I usually do it myself because I like to use the remaining fats and pieces of meat to build a beef stock, but you can certainly buy them from the grocery store already ready to go. What you want to look for is a thick cut. This allows you to really take advantage of the cooking technique of medium, rare, or well done. If they're thin cut, you really can't, as talented as a chef as you can be, you can't get them to the perfect temperature. So you want a thick cut steak just like these are. We're gonna put them on the board. Wash my hands a little bit, and we're just gonna I like to keep it simple. We're just gonna put some fresh cracked black pepper and then a sea salt. And I always tell people I love a really good sea salt for a lot of reasons, but the one that I love the most is called Jacobson. You can get it at a lot of different home goods stores. And the reason I like it is it's mined in Portland, Oregon. So I've been to the facility, I've seen the process, but what you really are looking for is a high quality sea salt. So we're gonna do cracked pepper on both sides. should have put a glove on. I always like keeping gloves in my kitchen because then I don't have to wash my hands so much and get all dried out. But so we're gonna do that. And then I have a little bit of salt back here. Just a little bit of salt, and you can always salt it after. So I don't go too heavy on the salt on the first end. So sous vide cooking. So what we're gonna do is, I'll show you the machine here in a second. You've seen it off to the side. But essentially it's a French technique that French chefs developed. And for a long time it was only seen in commercial use. And now, with the ability of having an amazing kitchen like this and chefs working from home, they've developed machines that you can use residentially. So it's cooking under pressure. So you're essentially taking a product, cooking it for a long period of time under a certain heat level, which the machine controls. So it pulls water through the machine and holds temperature to an exactness so that you can cook the meat all the way through perfectly and not have really well done on the outside and then rare in the middle. From edge to edge, it's perfect. So what we're gonna do is put it in a Ziploc bag. You could also use a vacuum machine, like a vacuum sealer, but they're expensive and kind of just another bulky item that I don't need in my kitchen. So I just use a Ziploc bag and try to pull out all the air. So we have those 2 steaks in there. We're gonna go ahead and put the butter in there. So we've now cooled the butter. It looks like this. This is also something you could do ahead of time and have it pre-done in like a log in the fridge, and you could just slice off pieces. I've done that before to speed up the process if you'd like. The butter's now cooled. All we're gonna do is pour it into the Ziploc bag. And then before I kind of seal it tightly around the steaks, I like to kind of work that butter into them a little bit. And then we're just gonna pull this and try to pull out as much air, if not all of the air, as you can. Okay, so now we wanted all the air out. You can see all the air is out, the beautiful brown butter. And we're gonna go ahead and just put this into the circulator. So the circulator is regulating the heat throughout this whole body of water. We're just gonna go ahead and lay it in there, and it's gonna hold at exactly 129 degrees for about 30 minutes, depending on the internal temperature you're looking for. And then in 30 minutes, we'll pull it out and just sear the outside, just so we have that beautiful presentation. Okay guys, we are ready to pull it out. So it's going to come out of the sous vide bath, the beautiful warm bath that it's been sitting in for 30 minutes. We're gonna bring it over to the stove, and we're just gonna sear it to put those beautiful marks on it. Okay guys, so we're gonna go back to high temperature on this, and we wanna do it as quickly as possible because we don't wanna undo what we just did in the sous vide machine. So what I like to do is take a little bit out and kind of put some oil, just the remaining oil from the pan in there, and you can kind of hear it crackling. When it starts to crackle, it means the pan's super hot. And I like to use a really nice metal pan. The non-stick just don't get hot enough. So we're gonna go ahead and put the 2 steaks on. And you can buy gloves, just like a latex glove at the grocery store. I love them. Like I said, they keep your hands really clean and allow you to do kind of multiple things at once. Okay, so we're gonna just let this go for a sec. I like to leave it on one side for most of the time, which is the presentation side. In the restaurant, you learn as a young chef that you want a presentation side and a non-presentation side. So leave it, build a really good crust on one side, and then we'll just tap it on the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some tongs. You could also do this step, summer's just around the corner. You could do this out on your grill. Get the grill really, really hot, and then bring the steaks out and just put those marks on it right before your guests come over to eat. And especially with filet mignon being such a lean cut, there's not a lot of fat in it, this technique of cooking is gonna keep it very moist and tender instead of overcooking it in traditional cooking techniques. So we're just about there. And this is one of those times where I wish there was a smell cam because it smells incredible. All those herbs and garlic are really coming through. So we're gonna go ahead and flip it. Just a few marks, and you can go as deep on the marks as you would like, but we're just gonna go ahead, kind of spin those juices. And a lot of chefs you'll see use a spoon and kind of baste those those beautiful flavors into it. I love this kitchen because I have everything within an arm's reach of me, and we can just kind of baste it in its own flavor. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and turn it off, bring it over to the board, and this is the most important step. You wanna let the meat rest. It allows it to kind of settle. If you cut into it right now, what's gonna happen is all those juices and flavor are gonna come out. So what we're gonna do is just bring it over to the board. We wanna let it rest. So you can either have a cutting board ready for it, or a sheet pan, something that doesn't have any heat, because you wanna stop cooking and just let the meat rest. So we're gonna let it rest for a cut of meat this small, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. On larger cuts, this is also a very important step. So when your husband's outside grilling or your wife is outside grilling, make sure that when it's done grilling, that you let it rest. A lot of people don't let that happen because they're worried about the meat getting cold. That's not the case, and it's a very important step with all meats, but especially beef and poultry. So we're gonna go ahead and let this rest for about 3 minutes. See you in 3 minutes. Okay guys, we're to the best part, finishing. I always like to wear gloves when I finish, especially when I have guests over, just for the reason of sanitation. So this is our beautiful steak after it rests. And plating is one of my favorite parts. So we're gonna put the steak in the center, and then I have some baby kale and some baby arugula. And I'm gonna take the pan that we grilled the steak in, and it's a beautiful kind of warm vinaigrette of sorts that we're gonna use to kind of just brighten up the presentation of this dish. And then to finish, I like to use a finishing salt. So this is a different salt than I used in the actual marinade. It's a nicer salt. This one actually has a flavor of black garlic. So we want to go mild on it, but just a little bit over the top, just for presentation. And then you have this beautiful steak.